most of you might know him as a world-class designer and global creative director of Muji. And he's also the creative director of Japan Houses, which is in Los Angeles, Sao Paulo, and in London. So with that, I would like to introduce Kenya Hara to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Oh, please have a deep breathing. Long day. I'm Kenya Hara, a designer based on Tokyo. Today, I'm going to focus on one topic, that is X formation. X formation is a special terminology I created to create a new communication method. We always use the term information. The concept of information is to make things known. But the concept of X formation is partially opposite. To make things unknown. Unknown sounds a little bit strange. But today's people always saying, no, I know. I don't know why the people say twice time, I know. I know about Japan, I know about sushi, I know about origami. How about the El Nino phenomena for the protocol, for the AI technology? People always say, oh, I know. But when I heard that word, I know, I always anxious about how much do you know about it. But if we can aware that these people, how little you know about that, or how much you don't know about that, we can stimulate their curiosity and interest. Do you think? Please see this video. You already know in the difference in between the saucer and balls. But if you ask to point it out the real border in between the saucer and balls, you'll be a little bit confused. But this confusion is not so negative, I think. The recognition how much you don't know about things, how little you know about things, connect to a more productive intelligence and positive perceptions. From that viewpoint, we use X formation as a special terminology to create a new communication design. And I share this idea with my student in the Department of Science of Design in Musashino Art University and in my seminar. All about in these 10 years, so in the graduation level students, I make a research about the X formation. In each year, we selected a special theme to be X-formed. River, the first one, and the resort for the second one. Wrinkles, plants, nudity, or nakedness, half done, woman, air, and pair was the theme. The Tokyo was the last one. I'd like to show you several ideas from that theme. Let's put the theme of plants. Some students create this kind of object. So the many plants is growing up everywhere, even on the surface of the cellular phone, even on the grass, and even on the red surface of the tomato soups. It looks strange. The people always says, please protect the plants, please keep green. But by seeing this photography, we feel a little bit terrible about the sprout of plants. We can't stop it. This student showed another viewpoint about plants. We feel the existence of plants with a reflection of the shadows that fall on the architecture in the urban place. Like this, through their shadows, we feel the reality of plants in the urbanity. How do you feel? The shadow falling on the road and falling on the walls. This is another reality of plants. How do you think? Another student took this kind of photos. Another student created this kind of the strange geometrically like daikon radishes. But if we design produce like the daikon radish geometrically, it looks so strange. But we can realize the natural shape of daikon radishes from this example. How do you think? Okay, second theme is nudity. One student created this kind of dolls. They are dolls whose bodies are deviant. These bodies are the culex. The student says the reason why we are embarrassed by our own bodies because we each have some deviance. The deviance is the essence of nudity, she said. It's very interesting viewpoint. But at the very bottom, hunchback and too much muscular. The average doll is that there's no deviance, but that he put a small deviance in the surface, in the body of the doll. It's very interesting. Another student showed us a very unique viewpoint. Clothing things in shorts actualize their nudity or their body. Putting small clothes on the subject, we feel the nudity even in the daily tools, the hammer, on the hammer. You understand? Okay, you can see the very slight two legs in between the board blade in the forks. And even on the range, and you can see the Venus line body even on the spout of the water. And very cute. The laundry clip is sitting on the towel. And amazing body of green peppers. Oh. She found a very fantastic nudity, even on the green pepper. Very cute. And this student shows us another viewpoint of the nudity. This project reached to completion. Just before the completion of product, the student feels some kinds of the nudity. The third theme is woman. One student disguised herself as a variety of women. Only one student. He disguised many types of women by herself. In this photograph is realizing that there had been such a variety of way of being woman. These types are not out of the standard in today's Japan and today's world. Every woman has all their diversity possibilities and choose one to live by, he said. Another student created this kind of images. These are weapons wrapped in floral patterns. Real-scale tomahawk cruise missile wrapped with a floral pattern. Machine gun and its bullets. Grenades, very terrible weapon wrapped in floral pattern. And this is not the anti-war message. Another student created this kind of images. An image of an X-ray of a female body made of pressed flowers. X-ray photo, like. It looks very beautiful, but terrible. Beautiful, but terrible. I don't know why the women and flowers are generally considered as connected. But here is a place from which the strange mystery of woman can be gleaned. This is another works, stick figure. Very simple one. The round head and the body is drawn by line. Stick figure has no sex and no age. But this student traced the movement of woman in these stick figures. We see this video. Undressing. This motion is very direct. Running. Rider. You can see the long-haired woman from the movement. Rare cat. All boys always thinking, why the woman do such action? They catch. Jump. Being a photographer. Shooting. Sidewalk chatting. Oh. This is another student work. Pet bottle design. This shape is from the goddess of the ancient age, very rich body of woman. And this is the overbody from the picture of the old Italian Renaissance painting. Overbody. And this shape is from the beach volleyball acid. The sport drink for the sports activity. This shape is from the picture of the early modern ages of Japan. Not so much exaggerated, very thin, very delicate body. And this is from the anime character. And style. Okay, last theme is Tokyo. One student created a mask of the average face of Tokyo. He gathered more than 200 faces of young people in Tokyo and mixed them together and using the morphing technology and create this kind of mask and take a photo like this in Asakusa town. Just beneath the Tokyo Tower. It looks very strange, but it's very Tokyo. It's Asakusa too. The Harajuku. How do you think? Tokyo. And another student created this kind of the t-shirts and pants combination. This is Tokyo camouflage. With a white background, it's very vivid, very clear. But in these circumstances, it acts as a camouflage. It is Shinjuku town. It's very good criticism about the image of town. And this is Asakusa town. And this is Setagaya, a typical bed town of Tokyo. And this is Marunouchi area in front of the Tokyo station. The vivid pattern that is took from the taxi, the surface of the taxi color. Very good. You already understand the method. Make things unknown. And the concept of explanation. Of course, this is a kind of the trial. This is a student, all of them is a student works. But I have a possibility so that to create a new method of communication from this viewpoint. And this project influenced my real work as a designer these days. Okay, please remember the explanation. Thank you very much. Please.
I'm gonna run up there. 座りますか、それとも。
じゃあ座りましょう。Okay.
Gonna ask a few questions,
Yes, please.
but the question is going to be a little bit of plug for an upcoming Japan House São Paulo exhibition. So those of you who might be in Brazil next in January, please go to Japan House because a project that both Hara-san and I'm working together called Architecture for Dogs is going to be there. And so one of the question is, I love Architecture for Dogs project. Yay. What's the next step for this project?
So I created project architecture for dogs. So about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think so. The reason why I selected dog is not that I'm not a dog lover. Of course, I like dog. So when I boyhood, I have a dog, and I like dog a little better, little more than cats, I think. But I'm not a dog lover. The reason why I selected the dog is that dog is known everybody on the earth. So the architecture for something is a structure of this project. Architecture for bracket, what kind of theme we put inside the bracket is very important. I selected the dog first. As a dog can be a very huge platform. And I asked to many talented architects to join this project. This is not only for the joking. So the dog is a very special animal that always living beside a human. The human always designing the circumstance by using the scale of by ourselves, our body. But the dogs always living in the circumstance that is created under the scale of human. So, but this is impossible to release dog into nature, even today. So the dog should live beside the human. So how about, so please imagine what kind of scale or what kind of architecture can be created beside the human scale circumstance. That's a very important viewpoint. I loved the talent of architecture. The future of architecture is very serious. They don't say joke. They always face the criteria very seriously. That is a very important point. So you get many fantastic idea of the architecture of dogs from this project. This project is not over. This is continuing. But it's just, as you already say, we should imagine, or we should make a new plan about architecture for something. So I think the one idea is architecture for sound. Sound, not the audio player. Architecture for sound. What kind of architecture we can create? And architecture for sleeping. The bed is already designed for the sleeping too, but if we imagine that as a new architecture, what kind of architecture we can create? Or if we put swimming, architecture for swimming. So there is some fantastic equipment by using the air inside. But architecture for swimming, so we can imagine a very fantastic one. So that is a system, the structure of this project. And we can put anything on this bracket.
There is a website called www Architecture for Dogs. So we started that project long time ago, really quite long time ago. And as Mr. Hara said that he's not a dog lover. I love dogs. So I just said, I want to do this. So we started this project, and what was amazing was because of Hara-san, we were able to find really truly like the top 10 architects around the world to design for dogs. And for me, it was a learning experience because architects are very solution-oriented. So you throw a challenge to them, and they get very, like he said, they're not joking. So a lot of these designs that they created, they were really earnest about it in terms of how to solve the challenges that these dogs have. And it's really quite fascinating. So Again, another plug. If you're in Brazil next year, please go to Japan House for Architecture for Dogs. So next question, is there anything you could not design? Is there something that you think, oh, I can't do this?
Most of the things I can't design. So not only create things, not only making some things, but also to what's the real wisdom is. Everything already designed, I think, in the human circumstances. Even the toilet paper, you know why the toilet paper is designed by as a law. So this cooker is already designed. The houses and architecture and the road and the carpet and the tiles, everything is already designed. If we can aware that, we can realize what the human wisdom is, really is. That is very important of designing. So the only awareing what human ability is very important. So not only to make things, so that is important point of design. So that I don't design, but that only little things I designed by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned a lot about macaroni in many of your talks about design. Just again, another background is that Hara-san did a whole exhibition on different designs for macaroni. And if you Google it, you could find it. And again, it's quite fascinating. What made you do that, and what's so interesting about macaronis?
All around the foods, I'm always interested in the staples. Staple is the main food. The rice and corn and wheat is the main products that the human create for the foods. And the shape of that kind of, we call it the staples. I am very interested in the shape of the staples. European people create a bread as a staples. Then I already interested in the shape of the bread. Oh, this is sliced. And this is not sliced that make a sandwiches. So there is a bucket and toast, many croissant. So I'm interested in that kind of the shapes of the food. Especially the macaroni is very fantastic, I think. So we shoot the powder the first time. To not only the wheat itself, it's crushed into the powder. And after the powder, they created shapes so that we can create every kind of shapes from the powder. Why the macaroni shape is like that? So macaroni is a very fantastic object to make a research about designing. So I think if the macaroni is first shape of ball, in the center core is very difficult to be boiled. It remains. So the macaroni should be very thin. And macaroni itself has no taste. Macaroni is a kind of a vehicle that can convey the sauces. So it is enough surface, enough quantity of surface. And the structure is very easy to be productive. And if the macaroni shape is too much complicated, we're all boring that shape. That shape should be simple. So that is a criteria of macaroni. The fantastic, very powerful macaroni remain today is clear at that point. That is very important. So I sometimes ask a student, please create your own macaroni by using the clay model. So, and please create a recipe for each product. That's a very fantastic training about designing. The reason why I interested in the shapes of macaroni.
So as you could see, I personally think that Hara-san as a designer kind of destructs your kind of traditional and conventional way of how you see designers. And it's a lot of the things that he designs. It's not just the macaroni, but like he mentioned, he also designed toilet paper. That he said, you know, I think at that book, A Designing Design, he said toilet papers are round. Why is it? Why not be square so that it's easier to store? But I think you mentioned, Hara-san, that that idea didn't fall because it doesn't turn, but it's easy to store, but it doesn't turn well. So that idea wasn't really quite accepted. But that was very interesting. So there are some questions that are going to be very esoteric, but I'm still going to ask you anyway, is that how does one establish a design language? Do you have a design language, and how does one establish that?
Okay, the role of designer is not only to create shapes and forms. If we can find out a very fantastic solution, we should explain why this solution is good. So the explanation is very important processes of designing, I think. So to explain something, we need words to the client, to the audience, to the many people to go ahead this project. So I think the design processes, we should find out we inside the I. That's a very important point. So if we can find this kind of the universality, the processes go naturally. So in that processes, we need language, we need words. So the writing word and the creating words is another aspect of designing.
So one last question is, what do you want your design legacy to be?
I don't know. So that is not, the design legacy is not the theme that I should create. It is only naturally.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
ありがとうございました。I think